What's up, fanatics? James Brown III here. Thank you guys for tuning in today. If this is your first time here, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel. This channel is all about horror. Well, I'll be doing breakdowns of each horror movie coming out per month. I'll be doing reviews. I'll be doing defending certain movies that I find good that other people don't. Everything horror that you guys can think of will be on this channel. So if you have not taken the time to subscribe yet, take a moment, hit that subscribe button. I promise you won't regret it. Tonight, I am excited, guys, to talk to you guys about The Grudge. I just saw The Grudge earlier this afternoon, The Grudge 2020, and I want to get right into it. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. Now, I want to start off by saying this is not a remake. If you're going into it thinking it's a remake, it is not a remake. There will be spoilers, so stop the movie. Stop right now if you do not want to be spoiled. There will be light spoilers ahead. I will not go in detail about the entire tier of the story, but there will be some things that might give away a little bit. So if you don't like spoilers, we might not want some things that might give away a little bit. So if you don't like spoilers, we might not want to watch the rest of this video. So let's get into what I think about it. Overall, it was good. When I went online, I found a bunch of. I went to IMDb, Internet Movie Database, and it had a terrible rating, had terrible reviews. People were just saying it was the worst ever. The pacing was bad, the direction, everything. I mean, I saw a couple of good ones, but for the most part, every review that I saw was bad. So I went with my brother and one of my good friends, and I sent the reviews to my brother, thinking about, like, should we even go see this movie? But I have an obligation to you guys as a horror fanatic to watch movies that are coming out and talk to you guys about them, to hopefully either influence you positively or kind of say, hey, you might want to skip this one. So I said, despite all the reviews, I'm gonna go check this one out, and I was glad that I did. Now, the movie is not perfect. It's far from perfect. They try to put a little bit too much movie into one movie. Basically, what happens is this picks up after the events of the Grudge Grudge in '04, when the curse is brought over to America. So it follows a household that is brought over to, and you guys know the story of the Grudge and how if you go into the house you're cursed and things like that. So all that stuff stays into play. Where it lost itself is the timeline that it jumped from. It would go from present day to 2006, 2004, 2005 to present day 2006. It would just do that so often that it was very easy to get confused as to what was happening. Now, it ties it together in a nice way at the end that kind of, it makes it a little bit worthwhile. I liked it. Let's talk about what was good. The scares were genuine. They had some genuinely good jump scares in it. This was the first one to be rated R, which I was a little bit skeptical on because it's a ghost movie. And ghost movies rated R usually don't go so well. The good thing about a ghost movie being the only type of horror movie that I'm okay with being PG-13 is because they don't rely on blood and guts anyway. Ghosts are more cerebral, more of like the spooky terror that happens. So like things like The Others and Woman in Black and movies like that, they don't get R ratings because they don't really need R ratings. There's not a lot of bloody effects or just overall gore and that type of stuff. So when I saw this rated R, even though us as horror fans love to see rated R movies, I had I had a little bit of skepticism when it came to it. Again, I'm very glad that I saw the movie. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Again, it did kind of lose itself in certain parts where, and if you go to see it, it is hard to follow as the movie goes on. Until the end, it does tie up well. So that's one thing I can say. Another thing I can say, a lot of the scare or the kills were legitimate. Some scares, one in particular, which I won't give away, that we see happen a lot in horror, and it's always not just horror but all movies, and it's not always done in a believable way. This one was done in a very believable way. When it happens, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about because it's one of the most, it's one of the biggest moments of the movie. The acting was really good. There were a lot of personal stories. Every family had its own personal story, its own personal history and background that they went throughout this movie, and they were explained away really well. Even the children in this movie were good actors. I mean, everyone in the movie did their thing very, very well. There was a part, one of the years they went to, I personally thought didn't need to be there. I think it just stretched the runtime and stretched the kill count, which I'm not a fan of stretching out a kill count or runtime for the sake of doing it. If it doesn't make sense and it doesn't absolutely need to be there, don't put it in the movie. I feel like it takes away from the movie. I feel like this movie could have been an 8 or even a 9 had they taken that part out. I really think that part did that, because it wasn't just a part. If it was something small, I could overlook it, but it took up a decent amount of runtime, and I don't think it was really that important to be there, aside from stretching out the kills and stretching out the runtime. I think the movie could have been the movie was a little over an hour and a half, which for a horror movie is somewhat long. You know, we usually are seeing like 110, 105, 115. A little over an hour and a half is getting, it's not, I mean, compared to movies like It and The Shining and stuff like that, it's not long at all, but for ghost movies, generally that's a little bit long of a runtime. But that's just a small nitpick. Overall, I was impressed. Overall, like I said, the acting was good. The kills were good, although they weren't needed to be as brutal as they were. It made sense for setting the groundwork and the framework for what we were dealing with, and kind of showing you what this curse really does to people, and how it's one of those things that's very hard to stop. I will say another thing too. And I said this to my brother and my friend in the car. This curse is one of the most unstoppable horror villains that we've dealt with, that we've seen in all of horror, for real. I mean, I thought it was really well done, and I've always liked the Grudge curse, even from the original before the American remake to the American remake. I haven't seen all the sequels just because I'm not a. To me, it's one of those things where it really doesn't need sequels that much to where I really was hyped to go see them. This trailer for this one made me excited again, and going forward, whatever comes out, I will be more excited to check it out if anything does come out from this. Unfortunately, I don't know that it will. In the theater today, it was relatively dead for an opening weekend, so I don't know what kind of money it made over the weekend, but I don't think it did as well financially as they were expecting it to. Now there's still time, but if you are looking for a good horror movie to start off your new year, The Grudge is a good one. Just make sure you pay attention, because like I said, it can get convoluted, but I promise you it ties itself up at the end. And if you have seen this, please leave a comment in the section and let me know what you thought. I'm curious to know if it was just me that found that liked it, because I can find the good in everything. I can see why people will dislike it. If you say it was too long, if you say it was kind of convoluted and hard to understand, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm definitely not going to argue with it at all. But I'm saying go see it. It's definitely worth a watch. It's definitely I've seen worse movies that have taken up much more time than that. So they did a very good job of explaining more of the mythos, as far as going to like the originality of the mythos, and I was impressed. So again, 7 out of 10 stars. It's definitely worth the watch. It's not perfect. It's got its flaws, but I liked it. So there you have it, fanatics. That was my review of The Grudge. Again, leave a comment in the section below. Let me know what you guys think. Also, click that subscribe button, click that like button, share this video with your friends, with your family, anybody horror fan. Let's get this page going. Again, I thank you guys for tuning in. You guys have a great night.